3, 2, 1. Boop. 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 Something like that. Hi, everybody. I'm Damon Bell. Some of you may remember that I used to be in a little band after college called Fryza Lyza. If you don't remember, maybe this will ring a bell. Who remembers MySpace? Yeah, that was a thing. Thing for us old people. Not old, screw you. I've had a lot of good times in the band. I was the trumpet player, also the tambourine player, occasionally the drummer. On rare occasions, I was a bass player. Not much of a singer ever really. I usually got the speaking parts. Not that there were many to speak of. But, like keep them separated and stuff. That was the one thing I got to shine on, really. But, a lot of fun. We used to practice at Lisa and Dave's house. That was a lot of fun. We'd play in their living room area, or their second living room area. I don't know, the study maybe. And it would get pretty friggin' hot in there because there's 6 warm bodies, whatever, playing, and the kids running around, and it was cool. It was. We were all real close together, so I mean, it brought us pretty close as a group, and that was a lot of fun. I think we were together for about 5 years, if I remember correctly, from about 2005, 2010 or so. A lot of good times. I remember Lisa had or I guess technically Dave had a dog named Tigger, a little brown, wiry-haired dog. And he had an orange cat named Tiger. And if you said, if you talked to the cat just the right way, you could get him in the mood to play with Tigger. And Lisa would get so mad, that cat would hop on that dog and go to town, and she would just get madder than a wet hen. And that was, basically at least as funny as the, cat harassing the dog to me. Just her getting mad about it. I love that cat and dog. Funny stuff to me. For my 25th birthday, the band decided that since I didn't really drink much when we played, that I needed to get drunk. We were playing at the Oasis, and it started off with the 3 wise men, Jack Daniels, something else, 3 kinds of whiskey or bourbon or rye or something, probably is what it was. Dave could tell you. I was trashed. I mean, pretty much from the start, I was just trashed. I'm not much of a drinker to this day, and it don't take much. I am a cheap date when it comes to drinking. Like I said, I was just wasted most of the show. And that's not great when you're a trumpet player. Alcohol makes your muscles kind of weak, and you use your lip muscles to play. So yeah, by the 3rd set, I thought I was sounding great. I found out later that they just completely turned my mic off. I wasn't even, I had no microphone at all turned on for me because it was bad. It was real bad. One fun thing from that night, 2 of Lisa's cousins gave me a lap dance. Thank y'all very much. That was really a highlight. I remember sitting on stage. I was just wandering all over the stage. I mean, it's not like I was playing anyway. I was too drunk to play. I remember sitting on stage and looking up at Dave, one of the Daves, and he was smiling down at me, and I thought, yeah, everything's great. He was laughing. He was laughing at my drunkenness. It was pretty bad. We ended up having an after party at Dave and Lisa's house. And I had a designated driver. Yes, I planned ahead. And we got there, and I think the only thing I kept saying was, "I'm drunk." I probably had my eyes closed, and it was bad. One girl came in the bathroom and watched me pee. That was pretty fun. Never had that happen before. A girl that I was kind of dating at the time, her and her girlfriend showed up in full tuxedos, top hats, and canes, I think even maybe tuxes and tails. And they were apparently a little bit inebriated themselves. And they started throwing, Lisa had made a chocolate cake for me, and it was the most delicious chocolate cake in the world, except for anything my mom's ever made, because it's automatically better. But this cake was really, really, really good. And I planned on taking it home. I wanted to make love to this cake. It was so good. And they started picking it up in their hands and throwing at each other, and then running around the house chasing each other. And then I think we made out outside. It was a, it was a hell of a time. it was, it was a good birthday. There's actually video of this, so I probably can't show much of that because there would be a lot of people getting in trouble. But it was a lot of fun. We would usually play the Toenail Trail Days Festival every year in Cristobal. That was a lot of fun. One of our bass player's kids' friends, a guy named Captain Oregon John Clough from Pennsylvania. Don't ask, I don't know. He would jam with us every now and then when we're doing our, like alternate projects. And he was a little trashed at one of those and just passed out in a lawn chair. And people kept asking about him. Don't worry, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. It was a lot of fun. They'd always have big bands come in, like Joe Ely, I think, came in. I thought he was just some country guy. I hear him on NPR all the time playing bluesy stuff. I wish I had paid more attention because I thought, oh, great, another Texas country band, Yahoo. Or Yeehaw, sorry, technically, whatever. We usually play the 4th of July festival there. Had fireworks and everything. And one of the friends of the band, I'll just leave it at that. She had entertained a couple of our friends in the tent right there in the middle of the whole fireworks show. And that was, well, it was entertaining for us. I'm sure them three were entertained. Anyway, moving on. We got invited to open up for Loverboy. They came and played the convention center here in town. Working for the weekend. That's probably the biggest hit you might remember. And there was, probably 300 or 400 people in the crowd. And at that point, that's the biggest show we'd ever played. And we're opening for a famous band, and it's the biggest crowd we ever played in front of. And we were just frozen, just, what do we do, And so Dave started hopping around, literally bouncing on the stage, which probably nearly made it collapse. And we all started laughing, and it kind of broke up the nerves and the nervous tension, and we put on a damn good show. It was a lot of fun. Dave will tell you when during Loverboy, when they played, during the guys' solos, the other band members usually they sneak off stage and have a smoke or a drink or whatever. They were literally just hiding behind the speakers, and you could see them. It always made him laugh. I skipped out of that part, went home and partook in some herbal activities. So I missed that part of the show. But thank you, Loverboy. Thank you, Convention Center, for having Fryza Lyza. That was a lot of fun. As I mentioned, we had a tendency to drink. Some of us in the band more than others. At one point, Lisa actually fell off stage, and I thought she had died. She landed on her head. Her neck was at a funny angle. Her ass was in the air, skirt down around her face, and kind of maybe had some granny panties on. Hey, whatever. I'm not here to judge. At least she was wearing that, I guess. And we did not stop. We didn't miss a beat. We just kept right on playing like a professional band is supposed to do. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, our lead singer's dead. But she eventually got up and got back up on stage, and we finished the show. And you're welcome, everybody, at Oasis that night for the free show. And you've probably seen in concerts, especially if you ever watch The Who, you see them, smash their guitars and kick over the drum sets and everything. Well, after a show with the Scrub Pub, Dave and the bass player, Paul, decided they were going to throw their guitars on the ground. And Dave came over. I had my trumpet on a stand, and he came over and kicked it over, just trying to be part of the fun. Not knowing that his guitar is made out of wood this thick. My trumpet is made out of metal this thick. Not, it's kind of flimsy. And it totally smushed in one of the valves, and it never worked right after that. But to their credit, they did pay for me to get it fixed. As much as the local music shop here could fix it, they weren't great. I said I didn't really drink much. I would usually only have one drink per show, and then Dr. Pepper the rest of the night. Especially at Oasis, the bartender named Clint would make me Quaaludes and what he called gummy bears. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the taste of alcohol in general, so I told him, just make me the most foo-foo drink that you can come up with. And so he made up something called the gummy bear. I think it was kind of orangish colored, and it was delicious. It was friggin' awesome. And then Quaalude, you can get it in a shot, but he'd make me a big drink of it. And I said one drink, and I would get just a little bit of a buzz, and I'd just have Dr. Pepper the rest of the night. Dr. Pepper and cigarettes, and it was, man. But thanks to that fact, that I didn't drink much, it's just like in the Blues Brothers. You earn $200, you drank 300 worth of beer, so you owe the bar $100. Well, at the end of the shows, most nights I was the only one to get paid. Everybody else owed the bar money for drinks and shit. It's just a good little, funny to me. Let's see, the same bar, Oasis, ended up holding a Battle of the Bands. And that was a lot of fun. It was 2 or 3 nights, maybe over the course of a week or two. And it came down to us in Bogota. And I will say they possibly had a better live show, but they didn't really have any originals, or not many. And so they played basically the same show for each one of the contest nights. And we played a completely different set list every time, and a lot of that was our originals Lisa wrote. And with some help from the band, I don't care what Dave says, we weren't studio musicians, but we ended up winning the Battle of the Bands. And man, we were never more proud than that night, probably. I was sure proud of us. Go Fryza Lyza, baby. And we ended up winning a certain amount of hours at a local recording studio, and that was cool. We felt professional in there with the mics and the plexiglass walls and all the insulation and crap, and I learned through the recording sessions that I've been playing one of our own originals wrong. I've been like in the wrong key and playing a note wrong for years, and hearing it over the speakers for the first time, holy crap, I've been doing this wrong this whole time. And it was cool doing multi-track and playing multiple trumpet parts and stuff, and I'll try to include some of that on this if I can figure out how to do it. Good luck to us. Lisa had a couple of really cool cousins. One of them I was rather interested in, and I said, Lisa, hook me up with her. I'm not going to name her by name. And he said, I don't want you in my family. I said, Lisa, look, I don't want to be in your family. I just want to be in your family for about 15 minutes. I think she slapped me. I think it was the only time she ever actually slapped me, and she was pissed. And I don't blame her a bit. It was one of the funniest things I've probably ever said in my life, but it was also one of the rudest. So sorry to that special cousin. Our old buddy Darren, he would usually invite us out to Mystery Fest. It's a big multiple-day festival, held in a different location a lot of the time. And the one in Water Valley, it's a little park there. It was great. They'd been mostly playing country for the first 2 days. It was like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday kind of a thing, or Friday, Saturday, whatever it was. And so by the time we were like the next to last band to play on Saturday night, and it had been country for that whole day or maybe 2 days before, and so the crowd was a little bit ready for something a little more rocking. And we got up there, and we just nailed it. We murdered that crowd. We just knocked them out of their shoes. It was one of the best performances I think we ever had. It was definitely the most give and take we ever got with the crowd, probably, and it was a great response. And boy, we were playing tight. I think it sounded good to me. It always sounded pretty good to me, but it was a lot of friggin' fun. And after that, this was probably 2 a.m. We're all sitting around at a drum circle, passing around bongos and stuff. And I said, I don't really drink. Everybody else there had a drink in their hand. I had a Dr. Pepper, and after about an hour of sitting there, I'm like, man, I could really go for a joint. So I fired one up, and within 30 seconds, nearly every single person there had a bong, a pipe, a blunt, or a joint lit up. They were just waiting for somebody to start one. So you're welcome, people. You're welcome. We were playing at the Scrub Pub one night. I think it was after they moved from their original building, or second original building, to the old Dr. Liquids and Silver Spur building. We were loading in, and they had a couple of local police officers working security that night. And when Dave walked past them, I guess they didn't realize I was in the band. One says to the other, "Hey, there goes that weed band guy." The weed band guy. They play a 4-hour set, and I think 3 of their songs mentioned marijuana in them. Ooh. And I'm like, really? That's all y'all got to say about it? They were kind of jerks, I thought. Anyway, speaking of Dave, he had his own band called Brother Dave, and it was they would occasionally let me play with them, and that was a lot of fun. Thank you, Dave, and his other brother Dave, and his other brother Dave. A lot of Daves in that band, and they would just play, a lot of classic rock covers and stuff. And but anytime Lisa would have to pee, we would have the Lisa's Got to Pee band, which is basically Brother Dave minus their drummer and bass player, I think. And we would play a couple of songs that, like Bullets and Take the Money and Run, and eventually we'd started playing Asshole one night, and it by Dennis Leary, it ended up becoming our closing song for pretty much every show from then on. And God, I love that song. Thank you, Dennis Leary. You were awesome for writing that. Probably had help, but hey, I'm not judging. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun playing in the Lisa's Got a Pee band. When we first started, there was one song. It was a B.B. King tune called "Pay the Cost to Be the Boss," and our drummer would sing that song. Well, it's easier to sing and not play the drums at the same time. So I would play the drums on that song while he was singing, and then he would finish singing, and he would walk back, and we'd keep playing the song, and we would switch out, keep the song going. I'd be playing with one hand, handing him a stick with the other, and then I would, he'd sit down at the drums at the drum kit, and I'd walk up front and get on the trumpet and play a solo, and then we'd end the song, and I always loved it. It was a lot of fun. One night I asked Dave during practice, I said, why don't we ever play that song that I play the drums on? It's like, you just answered your own question. Damn. Not that I blame him a bit. I'm not a great drummer. I have no experience playing drums. I have no business playing the drums, but hey, it's a lot of fun. If you can keep the beat, that's an important part, and I wasn't quite great at keeping the beat. So, yeah. One year, I had a bunch of buddies and roommates that were in the street hockey league here in town, playing over at the old Santa Fe rink. And they asked us to play for I think it was the finals, semifinals, whatever. And so we showed up and we were getting ready to play. And right before we were supposed to go on, one of Lisa and Dave's kids got their hand stuck in a car door and let out this blood-curdling scream. Oh my God. And everybody in the crowd turned and looked, and we thought somebody had, just got shot or something. So they rushed her to the hospital. So that left me, the drummer, and the bass player. None of us were really singers, per se. So I ended up playing bass. I think Paul grabbed his acoustic guitar, and he sang. And, of course, the drummer drummed. And so we played for by ourselves for a good 30 minutes to an hour, hoping desperately that Lisa and Dave would come back and fill in the rest of the band. That was a cool show. It was fun, playing different stuff than you're normally used to playing. I remember if any of y'all remember a band called Blue Mass Appeal. That's where you could say Fryza Lyza was born from. Lisa was a singer in that band, and ended up starting her own gig. And so, we're grateful to Lindy and Greg for that. We ended up having a poker night most Friday nights, and the lead singer from Blue Mass Appeal would play, and her husband and some of the guys from our band would play. And I remember Ahmad, our drummer, he would make the world's hottest nacho cheese. We'd have nachos and stuff, and it was just the hottest shit ever. like burn the hair off your feet, so hot. But it was cool. I remember Greg, he could not do spicy foods. He'd take just the tiniest little bite of a nacho, and he would just be beet red and pouring sweat for hours. It was comical. I felt bad for the guy. He was a good dude, and he did not handle spicy stuff. That was a lot of fun. I won a lot of money from them. We were playing at Fiddle Strings one night. That was kind of our home bar. That was Lisa's favorite bar, and we played there quite a bit. And my parents came to that show one night. You know, if it was like a 6 p.m. show, they wouldn't mind showing up. Normally, it was more of a 9 to 2 kind of a thing. But anyway, they were there, and of course during break, I and Dave and maybe some other people in the band or friends would go out to the parking lot. And my parents asked, "Well, where are you going?" "Oh, we got to go out and check the air pressure of the tires." And they immediately knew exactly what we were doing. And I have to admit, I probably should have done less checking the air pressure during breaks and more being in the bar talking to women. Yeah, I think it was the longest sexual drought of my life was when I was in the rock band. Because I was always outside. The minute we had stopped playing, I'd be outside smoking. And instead of inside flirting. Bad Damon. Stupid. Learn a lesson from that if you can. We didn't go on many out-of-town trips. We went to some kind of crazy bar in San Antonio once. That was pretty cool. Also did some event in Abilene. May have been a wedding or something. I think our favorite part of that was that bars close at midnight in Abilene, period. We're used to playing until 2 a.m. and this bar closes at midnight and they kicked us out. It was great. So then we get done with that and we're driving around, get to the motel, and we have a little U-Haul trailer basically for all our stuff. Nobody's had to bring a lock. Well, this is Abilene. We're not going to leave our stuff unlocked. So we spent, I think, damn near 2 hours driving to every Walmart and store we could find just to get a little padlock put on the door. At one point in the motel room, I guess, some drinking and light drugging may have been going on. Dave and a couple of the friends of the band almost got into a fist fight in the motel. That was crazy. That's why I smoke and don't drink. You don't get in fights when you're smoking, generally. Unless you're fighting over who has the lighter. That's about the only fight you might get into. Well, a lot of us were, big into shooting. I invited some of the guys from the band to go with me to the lake shooting one day, and we're out there bombing around the Twin Buttes, and Dave could not use the shotgun to save his life. He was just about the worst shot ever. So I handed my SKS, and he's hitting tiny little targets like he was born with that thing in his hand. It was quite comical. I remember Ahmad was really mad because there was a ton of salt cedar out there, and his truck was all scratched up by the time we got back out. Sorry, Ahmad. It was not intentional. I assure you that. A lot of fun though. The bass player, him and his wife, they have a ranch in their family, and we'd spend a lot of time out there. Well, I think only one time did pretty much the whole band ever go out there for the weekend or whatever. And Dave's a good cook. I'll definitely admit that. And he had a big old chef hat, that crazy mushroom looking chef hat. He was standing in the kitchen cooking, and most everybody else was out milling around. And Lisa apparently had gotten lost out in the field south of the main house, and we hear Dave. I mean, just horrible scream of Dave, and Dave literally, it was like a cartoon, his feet slipping and sliding as he ran out the door to go find her. And of course he found her within just a few minutes. It didn't take long. It's easy to get lost out there, but it's usually pretty easy to get found. And it was that same weekend, Dave and I had got into a chess match on this nice chess set they have out there at the ranch. And I think we played for at least 6 hours. We didn't stand up a single time, I don't think, during the whole match. And we finally stood up, and it was like two old men just, oh my God, my back, oh my God. And we were stiff as boards. It was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure I won. Dave's going to tell you it was a stalemate, but I'm saying now I won. Whether it's true or not, I'm saying it. Of course, most of us worked. Had steady jobs during the day, because being in a band in San Angelo is not the most lucrative field in the world. And so I would play all night with the band till 2 or 3 in the morning, because we'd play till about 1:32, but your ears wouldn't stop ringing till at least 3 or 4, thanks to a certain drummer's love for cymbals. I'll say, love you to death, brother. But yeah, your ears would be ringing till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I had to wake up like at 8 o'clock to go to the bus station and work, and it it wears your ass out. But it was definitely worth it. We had a whole lot of fun in the band. I thank Lisa and Dave every day for turning me on to being in a rock band. I was always just been in college or high school, marching bands and stuff. And a rock band it's like nothing else in the world being on stage performing. There's a quote from Blues Brothers 2000. There's no pharmaceutical rush that can equal the high you get when you're on stage and the band is rocking and the crowd is swaying and the music's hitting the beat. There's just nothing like it in the world. If you ever get a chance to be in a band and perform on stage, especially rock band or blues band or whatever, I could not recommend it highly enough. It will change your life. There's nothing like it in the world. It's kind of like having a job. It's a lot of work, but there's not a job you're going to have more fun doing either. And so yeah, thank you, Dave and Lisa and Ahmad and Dave and Jimmy and Jenny and Timmy. Is that everybody that was in the band? I think that's everybody that was in the band. Anyway, thank you all for a lot of great memories. A few not so great memories, but mostly great. By and large, it was all good memories. I can't thank y'all enough for letting me be part of your lives and be in your world and in your band. And big thank you to all you watching. I appreciate this. Just, go Fryza Lyza. Had a lot of fun. So y'all be safe out there and take it easy. Keep rocking.